Hi everyone, Comic Reviewer here, this time reviewing on the 2016 film Blair Witch. Now as you know, Blair Witch is meant to be a found footage supernatural horror film, as well as being a direct sequel to the 1999 film The Blair Witch Project, as well as ignoring the events of the 2000 film that I covered, Book of Shadows, Blair Witch 2. That the events of the film are meant to be a film within a film. Now, the premise of the film follows back in 2014, where we see a young kind of man known as James, who is meant to be the younger brother of Heather, who finds a YouTube video containing the image of a woman who he believes to be Heather. So, of course, we see how James, his friend Peter, his girlfriend Ashley, and a film student known as Lisa head to where Heather and her friends filmed the Blair Witch Project, where they meet the locals Talia and Lane. Now, Talia and Lane are basically meant to be these kind of these, like, people who know about the Blair Witch stuff. And you can kind of tell Peter is a little hostile to them when he does kind of see the conservative flag and kind of is openly against them. So we kind of see how they join with them to go into the woods. And at first, everything seems fine, until we kind of see how things start to get screwed over. We see how the GPS doesn't work anymore. We kind of see how the drone kind of crashes during the flight. And it kind of becomes clear this is a point where everyone is at each other's throats. And everyone is either playing the victim or kind of like going against each other. And I think what makes the film work is, unlike the first one, this one they really know how to make it scary near the end, and really makes you kind of jumping or kind of on the edge of your seat, knowing what's going to happen. And I think for the most part what I did like about the film is, given the fact we now have better CGI now, this one they can do whatever they need to show how much the witch is a bit more cunninger, a bit more toying with her victims, and even showing how time passes more quickly, and how basically James and the others are now stuck in a kind of giant, endless, time-warped kind of woods-like area. And I think for the most part what I think the film does well at, it kind of shows how James wants to find closure into knowing what happened to his sister Heather. And one, I can kind of understand this. And I think what the film also gets right at, it gives you a glimpse of a kind of creature that was meant to be one of the witch's victims, which is implied to be Heather. And I think for the most part what it gets right at, when you're kind of at the witch's house, or the place where the last bit of it was done, it really shows you how James and Lisa are kind of like having to kind of stay alive to make sure they don't end up getting killed. And I think it even does show that sometimes there are just some things best to be left alone. Some things that man should not be allowed to explore further. So I think, to me, Blair Witch is a better film than Book of Shadows. While Book of Shadows, I would say, is more like Scooby-Doo, this one feels like a better continuation. So I think this film definitely deserves 2 thumbs ups. Still good and still alright. So, Comic Reviewer here, signing out.